Hello, my friends. Happy Friday. Welcome to episode 211 of Why Did I Buy This? This series started as a great way for crafters to find unique ways to use the products that they have in their collections, but it's also a great series for those of you who are wondering what you need to be successful with crafting. My name is Lindsay Mann. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I have been an independent Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for over 22 years. I love to craft and I love sharing ideas with you. Going live is not new to me, but going live on YouTube is. And so I'm always finding unique ways to try to get the information out there for all of you. So as you're tuning in, please say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're watching the replay, you can let me know that too. And yeah, I'm starting a couple minutes early, not intentionally. All of that to say that sometimes I'm still figuring out this YouTube live thing, but that's okay. Good thing you all love me. Right. Hello, friends. Hello. Okay, so great. It's great to be here. I'm a little bit later than my norm. I just had some personal things to take care of this morning, but I have some really fun things to share with you today. Now, as you know, the new annual Stampin' Up! Catalog is now live. This is available for anybody to shop with. And if you take a look on my store, you're going to find not only the items from this annual catalog, but you're going to find online exclusives. These are really cute ideas and projects that you can do with these online exclusives. I've used some of them in the past few months or weeks of videos. So go ahead and look back and you can see some of those things. But this is where you're going to find the new in colors. You're going to find new stamps, dies, punches, embellishments, ribbon, all of the good stuff. So make sure to go ahead and take a look at my online store. I'll put some links there in the description. Now, today I was trying to think of what I wanted to do today, and I decided to go with something that you can all identify with me, and that is my favorite color, which is Pool Party. Now, I know that not everybody's favorite color is going to be Pool Party, but it's been my favorite color for as long as it's existed, and I just can't shake it. I love the Pool Party. I have Pool Party colored glasses. I have a Pool Party mug. I have Pool Party shoes. Look at my fingers right now. You can tell we're going to have some fun today. And so there's just something about Pool Party that I really love, and it like I always get drawn back to that. In my world, it's almost a neutral color because I use it so often. And so today we're going to look at different ways that you can incorporate Pool Party into your projects. Now, of course, if you want to sub in your favorite color, you can do that too. But the techniques are universal, so it's not just Pool Party that you can use for that. So I am going to go ahead and do the awkward transition so you can see my hands. And we're going to get started with some different projects. I'm just going to move a couple things around just so that you don't have to look at it. Anyway, it's fine. Okay, let me do the awkward transition here and we will get started. So now I have to figure out how to do the... Okay. So if I was tech savvy and amazing, I would have ways to do this that involve technology, but I am not. I spend all of my time on the crafty side of things. So, like I mentioned, we are going to be working with Pool Party. And so let me bring in a piece of Pool Party so you know what I'm talking about. If you're new here, this is the color that I love to bits and pieces. I just think it's such a great color. And here you can see I've brought in one of our new embossing folders, so just a little bit of detail in the background for you, but it's just a really, really pretty blue. Now, I'm going to bring in something called the Color Coach. So if you have a hard time mixing colors together, this is a great tool for you. I got it right out of the online store. And you can see what this Color Coach does is you can turn the dial and it helps you to identify the colors. So you can see here working with monochromatic colors, complementary colors, analogous colors, and complementary colors. So again, when you turn it around, depending on the color you're using, you're going to be able to work within those colors. Now I am going to go ahead and move the dial, the triadic dial, onto Pool Party. And so you can see it gives you 3 colors in this little window, and that shows you some colors that you can work with that are sort of like stair step colors. That's the way I think about it. So I have here Pool Party, Balmy Blue, and Coastal Cabana. So you can see those 3 colors are the ones that were in that window. Now I'm going to bring in the toadstool punch, and I'm not going to use it like a toadstool. I'm going to actually use the oval, and I'm going to punch out the Pool Party, the Balmy Blue, and Coastal Cabana. It's a really nice punch for that oval shape. And I'm going to bring in now a piece of 3 1/4 by 4 inch cardstock, and this is going to be where we're going to build our scene. So I'm going to use the Pool Party as the centerpiece, as it should be, and I'm just going to go ahead and stick that oval down here. And then I'm going to build in Coastal Cabana, another favorite, but this one, it's sort of second place to Pool Party, I would say. And then we've got our Balmy Blue. So we're just going to use this kind of as a color swatch to build our scene onto. Now, today's projects are using a bundle that's new, and this is called the Scenic Adventure Bundle. So you can see here, it's got a stamp set that includes all these beautiful nature scenes, and then we have the die set that includes mountains and treescapes and flowers and lots of different things to kind of do scene builder projects with. So I've gone ahead and used the tree die with our new in color Secret Sea. Here you can see the ink pad that coordinates with it, but I love Secret Sea with Pool Party. This is such a nice color combo, and I'm going to use a poker to just get rid of some of these pits that shouldn't be here, like that. Okay, and now we can use our dimensionals, and we're going to add, I'm going to bring in a new pack. That one's seen better days. Okay, we're going to add in a big one and a couple little ones, like so. Stick this one down here. Okay, and now we'll add this onto our center, our focal point of our card. This little guy didn't press down hard enough. Okay, there we go. And put that on like so. So we're using those color swatches in the background to create that illusion. It's kind of a geometric illusion of the sky in the background. Now, I'm going to bring in some greetings from this same stamp set. So on here, on the Pool Party, I'm going to use my Secret Sea as my neutral. So instead of using black, we're going to keep going with that navy background. So we're going to go cheers to another, and then we're just going to cut that. And then I have adventure, and that's going to go stamp here on our white piece. Oh, I love the font on that. That looks so nice. Now I wanted to bring in another piece of just something tactile to add to your card. So I'm going to take this linen thread, and I'm going to make it into 3s and then cut that. So while it's still folded, I'm going to bring in my bow tire. This is just a tool that one of my friends made me for my classroom. You can see these little dowlings just move along and make different size bows. But all you're going to do is put the ribbon on the opposite side of the pegs. You're going to switch hands, and then the one that's on the bottom goes through the pegs at the top, and the other one goes through the pegs at the bottom. Now, if you don't have something like this at home, you can use a meat fork or your fingers. I've seen it done with your fingers too, but I think a meat fork would be a little easier. And then I'm just going to trim the ends here, And what that does is makes a very pretty triple bow. So this triple bow we're going to stick onto the card. And I'm going to do that using my mini glue dots. See the little circle of glue there? We're going to pick that up and stick that onto the tree. And we've got our adventure that's going to go here. And then we're going to bring in the corrugated folder and we're going to layer this on like so. Okay. Next, we're going to do some embellishing. And so I'm bringing in my in color dots and we're going to add the Secret C equivalent. We're going to add a couple of those onto the project. And let me skip ahead and show you what it looks like when we mount this all together. So on crumb cake paper, I just went ahead and folded the card base. And then here you can see when it's cut out, we've got cheers to another adventure. And then there's our little triple bow. Isn't that cute? Yeah, go ahead in your comments if you've used anything like this Scenic Adventure stamp set. It's such a cutie. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to do yet another technique, and I just realized I needed to cut a little piece of paper here. So let me just do that real quick. Okay, boom. We've got our white paper, and we're going to bring in a clear block, and I am going to use Pool Party, surprise, surprise, onto the block. We're going to do just half of it like that. And then I'm going to bring in Flirty Flamingo. We're going to be creating a sunset scene. And so just not overlapping the colors, but just close enough that they almost touch. We're going to have that ink be a palette. Now I'm going to bring in my water. This is just plain old water in a spritzer. And I'm going to spray the block like that. You can see where my messy hands came from today. And now we're going to flip it over and just squish it onto the paper. And so we get this gorgeous background. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so you can let it sit aside to dry, or you can bring in your heat tool and you can speed it up. So I'm going to use my heat tool here. This is what we use for heat embossing, but we're just going to make sure we've got the background dry. I love this. This technique never gets old for me. And I just love how every card is going to be different. So I'm just going to make sure we've got it dry. Now something you can do when you're drying cardstock is flip it over. So you're drying both sides of the paper. And that'll help it to not curl. Because what you're doing is you're helping the fibers to dry evenly. When they dry, they stretch when they get wet, and so when you're drying them, it just will curl because one side is drying quicker than the other. At least that's my take on it. Take it or leave it. I don't know if that's the real science. That's just the way I think about it. But look at how beautiful this is turning out. Right? Okay, so let's use our snips now, and we're going to just trim the edges of this card. Okay, and then along here, oh, there goes the garbage truck. Okay, gonna finish that off just like so. Okay, so now we have this little scene that we're going to build here, and you can see, of course, it's definitely got a little bit of water warping happening, but it's going to sort itself out with the adhesive. All right, so we're gonna bring back in our Secret C. I cannot get enough of this color, you guys. You're definitely gonna wanna put that on your wish list. And I have 3 different trees that we're going to be working with. And you can see they're the 3 that are included here. And I'm gonna start with the tallest tree, and we're gonna do a stamp here, and we're gonna do one here. And how about one over here? And then bring in this medium tree, and we'll stamp it beside. One in the middle. And we can do this one here. And the little tree, I'm going to stamp this one down in the corner. And we'll do one here, just like that. Now, one of the things I love about the artwork on this set is notice how the trees have their branches going in different directions. So all 3 trees weren't drawn the same way with all the needles sticking out the same way. It looks more realistic the way a forest does. That made me very happy. Okay, with our Secret C, we're going to stamp the stamp You're Amazing. And this is from that same stamp set. We're going to stamp that into the pool party sky, like so. And then I'm going to bring in some pool party ribbon. So we have this beautiful ribbon here. And I'm going to use the hole punch. And I'm going to do a 1-hole bow. So wherever I punch the hole is going to be where the knot sits. So from the back, you can see that little hole there. I'm going to thread the ribbon through and then just have enough that I can be able to tie it with. I'm going to wrap it all the way around to the back. And then from here, cut a piece again that's just big enough to be able to tie with. So from the back, we're going to thread that through. And now we're going to be able to pull that tight. You just want to make sure the loop stays on the card front. So now I'm going to give it a tug. Make sure that it's not folded weird anywhere. And so this is kind of the equivalent of, you know, when you have a friend put their finger in the knot and then you tie it and it stays tight. This technique holds it tight for you. So you don't have to enlist anyone's help to make nice, tight knots or bows anymore. So now I'm going to use my ribbon scissors and I'm just going to trim off the excess. And so here we have that very pretty card front that we're going to use. Now I'm bringing in, you can tell what my favorite colors are. So these are the hexagon gems, shades of green hexagons. And you can see the pool party ones have been picked over pretty thoroughly, and you can guess that would be from your pal. So we're going to add a couple of those in the background, just some twinkly gems in the sky. And let's skip ahead and I'll show you what it looks like when we mount it onto a card front. And there we go. So you'll notice that just depending on the day and how much ink you put on and how much water you put on, it's going to change the background of that stamp. But I just love how pretty that is. And You're Amazing is a nice card to give to one of your friends. You don't need an occasion to do it. It's just, you know, very nice to do. Okay. Let's move on to the final card. So this is the PYP card. If you're new here, PYP stands for Pee Your Pants. It's just when you find something that you really love, you know, sometimes you just are so excited that you pee your pants. Okay, so we have the pool party. We're going to bring in our pool party ink again, and this time we're going to bring in a blending brush. And I'm actually going to move this aside for a sec. And we're gonna do some work on my glass mat. So with my ink pad, I'm going to just squish a little in the background here. And we're going to use that to be able to pull that onto the project. So I'm just gonna grab that ink and we're going to add it to the background here. So just keep using that to add more and more ink to your project. It just, I think, is a little easier on your ink pad if you do it this way. Not that it would harm your ink pad, but maybe if you're doing it repeatedly, it might kind of exhaust the foam. So we're going to just use that glass mat, which is also a pool party color, so fits today's theme. And we're just going to keep bringing that color into your background. So, and you're going to bring it down as far as you'd like. So there we've got that color. And then we're going to use our lemon lolly and we're going to do another bit of coloring. So this time we're going to stick that down here and we're going to pull that onto the project like so. My lemon lolly was a bit juicier than my pool party. That's the thing about the favorite colors. You do need to remember to ink refill them more than your other colors because they tend to run out of ink faster because you're using them more. You go ahead and put your favorite color in the comments. I'd love to know. Obviously, there's no right or wrong answer. Color is highly personal. I was talking about this with some friends at a class this weekend about how sometimes the colors seem to fit the person. Like you can tell that it's their favorite color. I don't know. There's just something in their personality that you see, like if they have like a really fiery personality, maybe the bright colors really stand out, or if they're very quiet and calm, maybe the cooler colors stand out, the subtle colors. Okay, so here you can see we've got a sunrise and the sky happening. So now we're going to do a little embossing. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly dry the ink. This isn't going to take long, but it's just sort of making sure that we're not putting any embossing powder where we don't want it to go. And then I'm going to just double check that I've got all of that off with my embossing buddy. So this is just like a little bean bag filled with powder so that it takes away any static or moisture from the cardstock. And I'm going to bring in my white ink. Now, where did I put my white ink? This is the story of my life, my friends. You know what? I might just use Versamark because I don't know where I put my white ink. It must be around. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Do you guys do that in your studio where you put things down and it's right in front of you and you can't find it? Okay, so I'm going to use the clouds that come in this stamp set, and with the white ink, I'm going to stamp a few. And then we're going to bring in the Wow embossing powder, and I'm going to sprinkle it over top of where those clouds are and just tap it off so that we don't have any excess. So now I'm using my heat tool, and those fine plastic granules that are attached to the white embossing powder are going to be melted onto the paper, and it gives you that raised embossed effect. It's really fun. It's definitely a wow technique, a PYP technique on this card is embossing. But look at how fun that looks with the clouds in the background there. Once it's all shiny, then you have completed the embossing, but I'm going to take this a step further. So I'm going to bring back in my white ink pad, and I'm just going to pick up some white ink with my sponge dauber. And then in the background here, I'm going to add in some more clouds. Some of it's going to go over top of what we stamped, and some of it is going to be on its own. So we're kind of just going in little circles, adding that to the background. And now I'm going to bring back in that embossing powder and watch what happens. Okay, so we're going to sprinkle that over top. And we have here then these kind of puffy clouds happening in the background. So once more with my heat tool, we're going to heat that up. And so we're just creating those puffy little clouds in the background around the detailed clouds from the stamp set. What do you think? Isn't that fun? Yeah, I think that looks really cool. Okay, but just wait, there's more. So I went ahead and I ran through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine the Secret Sea cardstock, and this is going to create our mountains. And so I'm going to just go ahead and add some dimensionals on the background so that we can adhere it to our sky. And I'm going to stick those on like so. And then a couple here. And then peel off the backings, and we can stick that onto the project. So this is going to go, we want the sun peeking behind the mountains, okay? So this is going to go on like so. Oh, thanks, Ina. You liked the clouds? Yeah, it's fun, right? You can do that really with anything. Any sky backdrop. You don't need to have the stamps for it. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to use my snips to just trim off any of the excess secret C. We don't need that hanging out beyond our card front. So there we've got our mountains. But where I live, the mountains are often snow-capped. So I really wanted to create snow. So here's what I did. I ran this through a second time. And now I'm going to bring in my pen. You know what would be good? I just thought of this. I'm going to use my Secret C marker. And then when I cut it out, if you see anything, you're not going to be, it's not going to bother your eye because it's going to be the same color as the cardstock. So we're just going to go ahead and trace this die all the way along the bottom. Okay, just using the pen end. And when I remove that, this is going to give us the snow-capped look. How handy that we have in color markers. Okay, so I'll trim off the top part. We don't need that. And now I'm going to use my snips and I'm going to follow that line that we just drew. Follow it along like this. Okay. How many of you like fussy cutting? I really didn't like it for a long time. And then I started to really like it. And you know why? Because there's things you can do with scissors that really take the project up a level, and it's not difficult and it's not expensive. So that always makes me happy. I like wow techniques that aren't multi-step, if you know what I'm saying. What about you guys? I know there's some people who are like so good at making boxes and things, and I've recently gotten into fancy folds. I think just being a paper crafter for over 20 years, there comes a time when you're like, I don't want to make a flat card. But I like ones that don't require a ton of cutting or stamps. Okay, so here we've got our snow, and look at how beautiful that looks when you just add it on there. Oh yeah, and that marker really does help. So even you can see here, I'm just going to quickly along the edge where maybe my cutting wasn't exactly perfect. Follow this along, and it really helps disguise any of that. Okay, like that. Did I get it all? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now let me bring in my glue, and we're just going to add multi-purpose glue along here. I know a lot of you use this as your primary glue. I tend to use it only for adding the more delicate pieces to projects, but I live in a place that doesn't have a ton of humidity, and so the Stamp and Seal works really well, and it's just a lot faster for me. But that's years and years of using cartridge tape. Okay, so now we're gonna add that on just like that. Oh yeah, looks so good. I love it. I'm a mountain girl though. I spend a lot of time in the mountains. I love to hike. And so it makes for a very fun card when you can kind of bring in the things you like. Okay, so now we're going to do the greeting. And so this greeting is a fun because it's a twofer. So we're going to say, let the blank begin. So we're going to stamp let the. And I'm bringing in my punch. And I don't want it to be a giant punch though, because these little words are kind of small. So we're going to alter the punch. So this is actually going to slide in. If you find the middle of the punch, just like that. No, I'm going to do it this way. So find it like this. I'm making it look harder than it is. There we go. Okay, beautiful. So we have this. Okay, let me get My camera's kind of in the way here. There we go. So do you see what I'm doing? So now we can punch that. And so then we have this little cute label that fits our greeting perfectly. So we're going to stick that there. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead and show you the final card. So once we have added that on, all I did was I stamped adventure, which you guys saw as a separate word. I embossed it and then I fussy cut it out and then just added some pool party embellishments to the background, and it makes for just a really beautiful, fun card. So let me show you one more time. We've got our PYP card. We have our sunset background, and we have our little color palette that was chosen for us by the Color Coach, which is a handy tool that will pick out any one of your favorite colors and help you to color coordinate things. So if you're thinking to yourself, Lindsay, why don't I have these products? Head to my online store and you can shop away. Remember that if your order reaches $60 in the month, then you're going to receive the creative stamping tutorial for free. This is a tutorial of 12 YouTube videos by 12 demonstrators, very talented friends that have worked hard to come up with really fun projects that you can see exactly how to make them. This one is, they're exclusive to this tutorial. And this month in May, we are giving away the Notes and Totes tutorial by Stampin' Up. The other thing is we do have a demonstrator starter kit promotion on in May. So from May 6th until the 31st, when you buy the Stampin' Up! Demonstrator starter kit, you're going to receive $220 Canadian of products of your choice in the starter kit for only $135. And there's no shipping charged on that. So it's a really huge savings, like over $85. There's also a paper pumpkin kit in it. So I'm going to include the link in the bio of this video. And this is a great time to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. I'm always posting new creative ideas for you. All right, my friends, Sharon, happy Pool Party Friday. Truly, today is Pool Party Friday. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will talk to you later. Bye for now.